Hi, John. Hi, Scott. Hi, Marquita. Scott, where are you driving today? If you cannot talk, you can ignore me.
I am just driving to South County to pick up my mom for an appointment. But so hey, that's
Gotcha.
my duty today. But I wish I was going to look at a house. Actually, I'm going to go look at her house, which Casey's working on.
Casey was actually just telling me about that deal and was showing me some pictures. The kitchen turned out great.
Yeah, it's been looking pretty neat. So anxious to see it today and a little more finished. But yeah, it's been coming along. Exciting. It's a good deal.
Nice.
I would have loved to have that deal, but I got two sisters involved there. Family, I think, yeah, just give it away. So
Yeah, you got to be careful sometimes. I bought my dad's house when he relocated for work down to Galveston and did like a profit share split with him on the back end, and that was back in 2018. And to this day, he still crabs about that deal and how I shouldn't have replaced that. I shouldn't have spent money on that. And so I get it, Scott. Like
yeah,
you're dealing with family stuff, you're like,
yeah,
"Eh."
yeah, getting with that.
Yeah. Brad, good to see you on here. Sandy, nice to
Greetings.
see you. Matt and Rebecca, I'm super pumped for you guys today. So thank you guys for being here.
Absolutely.
Normally, we kind of have people trickle in for the next few minutes, so we'll just kind of do a little bit of small talk before I pass it over to you guys if you guys are good with that.
For sure. Yeah.
Cool. While we are waiting for everyone to hop on, does anyone have a question or want some thoughts from the group on anything? Nothing comes to mind just yet. Julie, good to see you on here. Glad you could come. I feel like you're the one that motivated us to put this together for this week.
Well, thank you, Julie.
I forgot what's today's call on.
Midterm rentals.
Okay, cool. Good.
Yeah.
We got the power couple Copeland on here.
That's right.
Yes, we do. I was like, it's good to know who are experts in what area. And I don't know anything about midterm rentals. I know enough to be dangerous, but I'm like, let's just have on the right people who actually know
There
what
we
they're talking
go.
about.
By the way, Scott, I love your camera placement. That's really interesting how it's like right
Hey,
up
howdy.
the steering wheel there. Yes. Self-driving cars are amazing, aren't they? Yes.
God, don't do that. You'll drop it and it'll be at your floorboard by your gas pedal.
We'll be looking up and if we don't want to see it, you're right. That's a good point. Suzanne, what are you working on right now?
Well, I have a couple interesting loans I'm trying to work up right now on some four families in the city, which are not normally our thing. But we have two super smart investors. So just trying to figure out how to get those deals to work. One is a 7,000 square foot four family,
Huge.
massive, three bed, two bath units, no comps. I mean, like nothing, like
Yeah.
at all. And they already have it pre-sold to several buyers. Um,
Does that help?
it helps, yeah. It makes me motivated. And they've done this is like their bread and butter. I've done probably like 20 to 30 loans with them over the years on like just total gut four family renovations. They have it down to science. But I don't know what the heck to value this thing at. Like how I'm gonna make my bank happy on the back end. But then the other one is a out-of-state person, which normally is we don't do, but it's only a 45K rehab. Two of the units are already rented and done. It's not, it's easy. But their lender, they were working with a national lender, day of closing, said, the city has weird rules with fires, and if more than 60% is destroyed, they might not let you rebuild a four family, so we're out. And I was like, what who
Hmm.
does that? And they had the deal for like 3 weeks. And anyways, so the sellers don't want to extend. He technically has until Friday to close. So we're trying to work really hard to like get him approved this afternoon, walk the deal tomorrow, and fund it Friday.
Wow.
But the contractor's Corey Brinkman, and he's going to manage the long-term rental. The guy already has 4 other multifamilies in the same zip code. So, but keeps things a little interesting around here.
It does.
Not boring.
Yeah, not boring, which I love. So, all right. Well, I think we are just going to go ahead and get started, and there'll probably be a few more people who jump on, and then there's some people who I think too watch on Facebook Live. But
Cool.
if you guys are good, I'm going to introduce you all, and then we'll just go from there.
Sure.
All right. I was going to see if Rachel's on here because sometimes she records it, but I wonder if maybe it just automatically does that. Anyways, all right. Well,
You
welcome
go into
everyone.
where in the three buttons where it says more, you click on that, there's a record option in there.
Oh, yeah. It kind of looks like, oh, it's already recording. We're good.
Perfect.
Cool.
We'll edit it and clean this part up for our blog post.
We don't need that, yeah.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you guys for joining us today. I am super excited because we have Matt and Rebecca Copeland on the call today to talk about all things midterm rentals. Lately, I know several of you have been reaching out to me and Casey and other people on our team, just wanting to know more about midterm rentals, getting your midterm rental, you're getting it going and you're trying to figure out next steps. And Matt and Rebecca have gotten so good at it that Matt just quit his job, what, like 2 weeks ago?
A month ago.
A month
Time
ago.
flies.
Yeah,
Okay,
A
yay.
month and 2 days.
yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, it's funny because the day I resigned, I recorded a podcast with Jesse Vasquez and another guy, and that podcast just came out yesterday, apparently. So kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is
Been a
awesome.
whirlwind. Yeah.
Good. Well, you guys in my mind, are the experts in the St. Louis area on all things midterm rentals. I feel like I've loved watching you guys grow over, I feel like because we've known each other for 5, 6 years.
Five-ish.
Yeah.
Five-ish,
A
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, and you guys are crushing it. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for being willing to come on today and talk to everyone. But I'm just going to pass it over to you, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. And we can share, I guess, right?
Yep.
Perfect. If I can bear with me. How about that? Is that good?
Looks great.
All
Awesome.
right.
So, first of all, defining what midterm is. People understand short term, people understand long term. The midterm is like this random middle section that people just don't get. Sometimes midterms turn into long terms, but at a better price. So, there's that. But ultimately, it's anything that's more than 30 days. And the more than 30 days aspect is important because that keeps you out of regulations that short term properties have to have. So at 30 days, you don't need any extra licensing. You're not paying, sales tax on their stays and things of that nature with each municipality. 30 days, you're a resident, and there's really good opportunities within that.
I think the other thing to add there too, we've seen this idea again. Rebecca said it. People understand short term. They understand long term, right? Long term, year or more. Short term are the short, quick Airbnb stays. You're going on vacation, etc. Midterm starts at 30 days and goes out. And the reality is that space is so vast and so huge that it's really, I like to say it's like the wild, wild west. Because there are so many different things that you can do inside of that 30 plus day stay space. The other thing that you get, and Rebecca talked about this a minute ago, about the municipality requirements. We've started to see owners in the city of St. Louis coming to us because their properties that they're doing STRs on are getting automatically reassessed by the city as as commercial properties. So the city's moving them from residential properties to commercial, and they're raising their tax bills. I mean, we had one owner come to us, their taxes went up from $3,000 a year to $8,000 a year. And they said, "Oh my God, what can we do here?" And basically, we came in and said, "You know what? We can bring this into our system. We can get that moved back from. We can work with you to get that back moved from commercial back to long term, and we can probably get you the same, pretty close to the same rates that you were getting with STR."
So there's a lot of myths with midterm rentals. Some think that it's passive and easy button. And absolutely, there are times when I'm like floored at how quickly something gets booked, or how quickly I have an exorbitant amount of leads for one property. And a lot of times those are coming from conversations, not even an Airbnb or a furnished finder or a stat living or some other vein. While I do firmly believe that those are great options to always have open, I kind of use them as a mining opportunity and not necessarily how I want to book them. So a great example, we had someone reach out, I don't know, 2, 3 weeks ago that's looking to book. They have 3 technicians that are going to be in for a project April through September. And I went ahead and I approved the listing with Airbnb and immediately found them at their business and booked a second property for them as they had additional people coming in, and made that introduction to say, "Hey, the next time you need something, please contact me directly. I can probably do it for, a better option for you if we go outside of those platforms." And so now I'm getting multiple bookings with this company. And quite frankly, I'll take no one else biting into my profit by doing so. And then I put them into our CRM, and that CRM contacts them on a quarterly basis just to remind them we're here to help. And it's just one nice big churning piece. It is very much not passive. I am always looking for opportunities, whether it's people relocating or renovating a house and they can't live without a kitchen for 3 months or whatever that looks like. There's just lots and lots of opportunities. Matt booked one after the tornado last year at a Memorial Day party. And that tenant, because their house was destroyed in the tornado, will be with us through August of this year. So started as a midterm. Insurance is still paying for it. We're getting way more than we should. And thank you, Jesus, for that. I'll take it all day long.
He'll be with us for 15 months straight, getting basically 2x market rate.
Yeah. So people sometimes think that they're less profitable Airbnbs. I firmly believe Airbnb is just a platform. Airbnb doesn't own any of those properties. So if they're going to take 15% or whatever it is this week out of my fees, I'm going to for sure make sure that I'm booking things outside of that as much as possible. Again, I look at it as just one vein of many things pumping to this business, not the be all end all. And frankly, a lot of times I can get them off platform without having to book there. And I'll take that. Additionally, if you look at short-term properties versus midterms, because we have the same people in consistently and you're not having so much operational cost with cleaners and repairs, replacement items, I definitely think midterms are far more profitable than Airbnbs. The amount of extras that we've had added to our properties from our midterms are substantial. Everything from bidets to they've come in and added dimmers to all of the lights that they thought were too bright so they could control it.
Added TVs mounted to walls,
TVs,
legitimately.
all sorts of
Yes.
things. It's just impressive, and they leave it in better condition than I even gave it to them. And thank you. They're awesome. And then sometimes people get it confused and think that it's really expensive. Airbnb, you've really got to, set yourself apart. So you're setting up, making sure you have hot tubs and pickleball courts and all
Neon signs and all kinds of.
I don't have Instagrammable properties. They're clean. They're very safe. They're fully, stocked with everything you need for a good cup of coffee in the morning and an ability to make dinner and all of that stuff, it is not crazy. I make sure I have really good mattresses. I make sure I have blackout curtains in case people are working overnight. But that is by far, it is not expensive. I think we've figured out that it's between $10 to $12 per square foot
To
as what we're
furnish.
furnishing a full property. So
The other myth that's out there, and this is one actually Brian Schroeder brought up to me, so I figured I definitely would address it here, is that MTRs are dead, right? The answer is that they're far from dead. The reality is they've been around since forever, since the 80s. They've just had a different label attached to them. They've always been furnished rentals or corporate rentals or all of these other things, right? Um, the boom for MTR really happened at COVID, right? When COVID hit and all the travel restrictions happened, people who own STRs had to pivot, right? And they pivoted, and you could catch a travel nurse immediately and get insane revenues out of them. And the reality of that is that you had this imbalance between what the supply was of midterms and what the supply was down here and the demand was up here, right? So I think in something like there were like 600 and there are currently 600,000 midterm rentals on Furnished Finder. At the time, there were like 30,000 furnished rentals on Furnished Finder. So that just created this massive imbalance between supply and demand, right? And anyone could pivot and get into midterm rentals and be very successful for about 12 to 18 months running. The reality of that today is that supply has caught up with the demand, right? The demand is still out there, but that supply has caught up, which creates this price pressure down that operators see. Um, and the majority of people that are operating midterm rentals are mom and pop operators. They've got between one, two, or three, and everyone thinks that they're sexy. But in reality, what they recognize is that, they're doing what I'm calling a business to consumer channel, right? A B2C channel is you're trying to use marketing platforms to find your guests. And when you do that, right, you're beholden to, the algorithm of that marketing channel, right? So Airbnb, VRBO, Furnish Finder, if they change their algorithm, your business could dry up pretty quickly, right? The second part of it is that now, again, while that supply and demand is balanced out, you become more reliant on finding guests. And a lot of people have got to spend that time going on like Furnished Finder, finding unmatched leads, etc., and then trying to bring them in. All of that really kind of gets to, it's not, Rebecca's made the statement and she's right. It's not a passive business. It's very active. You have to consistently be looking for these travelers. Her background is in hospitality, so this was kind of perfectly right up our alley. So, that business to consumer channel is again, that's a lower price point in my mind. What we're doing in our business that's a little bit different is we're going out and we're creating business to business relationships. We're going out and creating corporate contracts directly with insurance companies, with construction companies. And when we get to that point, it's a very, very different pricing structure. I mean, the example that I like to use consistently is, we'll actually go driving through extended stay hotels, parking lots, and we'll find like construction trucks there with DOT numbers on them. We look up those DOT numbers on them. Um, you typically get the office manager for a construction company. We call them up and we say, hey, we see that you've got a construction crew in town. Tell us what they're doing. They're like, oh, they're working on this project for the next 3 months. And, excellent. How many guys you got there? I got 3 guys living in this extended stay hotel. Well, immediately in my mind, 3 guys in an extended stay hotel now is $150 a night. That's $450 a night. For our 3-bed, 2-bath units that would be in that business to consumer channel, we're happy getting $3,000 a month for those properties. But now I'm taking what would be considered $3,000 a month and I'm comparing it to almost $12,000 a month, right? So my pricing structure is totally different in that scenario, right? So we are actively building those relationships. We're adding to our database. Rebecca talked about our CRM. We're adding them into our CRM. We're going out and essentially, when we have those business to business relationships, we can become the easy button for them. We can become the opportunity for them to come in and say, like, hey, I just, you know, I actually coach in this group called Air Venture Academy. And one of the girls in my coaching session last night was talking to a guy who was a CEO who was trying to find placement for people that were coming into LA for a month. And he's like, why is the CEO calling you? You know, the reality is, you know, she took that offline and said, let me take care of you, right? Let me figure out, like, you know, ask deeper questions. How often are you bringing these travelers in? How often are they going to be here? Is it just a one-time thing? Is it a year thing, right? She's actually looking at this guy and creating a relationship to where they potentially have a year-long lease, but she's putting it out there at again, 2 to potentially 3 times what market rent would be just to get for a long-term lease, just to get this flexibility for this corporate stay. So that's really the gist of what we're focused on. Um, you know, I talked about this before, right? The midterm rental space, it's so broad, right? It is, if you think of any reason why people are traveling, that's who we're targeting, right? And we can actually make a very profitable business by just digging into these specific niches, right? But, you know, you've got everywhere from corporate travelers, right? Digital nomads are a big one right now with people who can work from anywhere. You know, relocating professionals. You know, Boeing is just relocating their defense headquarters here, adding 1,800 jobs to the St. Louis market. How many of those people are going to be relocating from somewhere else that need places to stay? And they're not exactly sure where they want to be, right? We can give them a nice trial location in a good area of town so they can see where they want to live. Insurance claims. Actually, that's that picture there with the tree on the house is actually a tenant, right? I call them guests, but no, it's one of our guests, right? So they're literally, you know, they had during that snowstorm in January, they had a sewer main break, uh, water main break. Water came in. They took 5 dump trucks out of the front yard, failed to secure the tree. Tree fell in the house, landed 12 feet away from where we were sitting. Fortunately, everyone was safe, but like they're literally not going to be in that house for over a year, right? They're in a property that we own near Dogtown, and we're literally getting 2x of our monthly rental rates in that property for easily the next year. So that's a big one. You know, medical residents and professionals, everyone thinks about travel nurses because that's actually a huge market for this. It's probably about 20 to 25% of what we do. But you think of people who are coming in for residencies at WashU, or, you know, people who are coming in to do research fellowships for 6 months. Like we're tapping into those sorts of things. But there are so many opportunities for midterm that you can find it. I mean, leads are everywhere, but it really just comes back to the relationships you build. And every time we build a relationship, that adds to 1 or 2 more leads that come to our door.
To add to the relocation, twice in the last year, we've had someone who's in the process of building a home, sold their home faster than they anticipated. Home was not ready. They thought they would only be there for 60 days and ended up being there for 5 months. That's happened twice. So even as realtors and, you know, real estate professionals, there is truly a need to have somebody, you know, that has furnished rentals readily available, because no one wants to move twice, right? So if you can just be like, just bring your clothes and you're gonna, you know, be here for a short time, and you don't have to have all the extras. You don't have to unpack the kitchen, repack the kitchen, all of that. It just makes life easier.
Yeah, it's always longer than they think, right? Like they come in and they sign, like the people with the tree. They signed a 3-month lease, right? There's no way that house is going to be done in 3 months. The guy who was moved in last May after the tornado, he signed a 3-month lease, and then another 3-month lease, and then another 3-month lease, and then I raised the rent when they came in and asked for a 6-month extension, and didn't bat an eye, and then so now, yeah, we just keep growing.
So I think that that's another thing that people kind of question is, you know, how do you book things? I typically don't start looking for a specific tenant or a house until I know for certain that they're leaving. So about 3 weeks before any tenant is expected to leave is when I do a touch base to go and confirm their move out dates. Because more often than not, they extend for another 3 months. And if I can confirm it with an email and a quick amendment, a one pager, that saves me tons of work of looking for tenants that I don't have a place to put them. So it honestly has worked out really good that I don't really get excited about moving someone around until that time frame. Why do I love midterm tenants or guests, whichever way you want to call it? They have a purpose. Every morning I see the crews that are working, they literally lock the door at 6 a.m. and they re-enter around 6 p.m. They're there working. They're not there just hanging out in the house, beating things up, wear and tear. They come in, they have dinner, they do a little Netflix and chill and go to bed and get up and do the same thing the next day. So credit scores, 782 was the last one I looked at last week. I had a couple from 7 to 750. I will take that all day long. Some of them are homeowners too. They rent their homes out, so they get it. They're super respectful of the home. They ask really good questions. I have one that Amy Myrat, many of you know her. She has one that she barely had finished before we had tenants in, and they knew that going in, so they weren't upset that we were going to still be working on a few things. They have currently repaired the water leak at the washer and dryer, and they are construction people. And they added a air conditioner to the attic space as well. And so I had to ask them for the receipt. I said, if you just give me the receipt, I'll just credit you on your lease. And they were like, oh, okay. And so just like things like that, like they are so awesome. Like these are the problems I want. Like, can you send me the receipt? Okay. It's just lovely. They really are awesome. Less regulations. I do have repeat clients. I have a gentleman who spends half a year in Spain and half of a year in the US. And I just sent him a code yesterday. He's looking at a property. His wife won't join him until September because of work schedules. And so he's going to use a 1 bed, 1 bath to reduce costs until she gets here. And he just wants to make sure that, he likes the layout before he signs on. But I'll take repeat crews and guests or interns or whatever the case may be as they continue to come to St. Louis. So
I think the one thing I want to add too on the lower wear and tear properties, right? These things are turning over every typically 60 to 90 days. And then with it being like summertime and grass cutting season, right? We provide grass cutting, we provide all the utilities, but we've got eyes on the outside of the house now every single week. And we have eyes on the inside of the house every 30 to 60 days, 90 days. Right. And even the ones that have longer, like the guys that are in there for that tornado, I'll go in and inspect once a quarter just to get eyes on it to make sure.
Filter change.
Yeah, filter change, make sure nothing's getting out of whack, right? And so, for those of us that do long-term rentals, right, we all know that, you need to get into them to make sure that the people are living in them well. But when you've got eyes on the inside and the outside of these properties on a consistent basis, there's very little that goes wrong on a repairs basis that we're getting caught with it turns. So that's a huge win to it too. And that's really it for us. So I guess at this point, I know we'll just turn it over for questions and see what the group's got.
I definitely have a question.
Yeah.
So oh man, how is it I'm trying to structure it? Okay, so say you got someone that's living there for about 3 months and obviously everything's going great. Are they responsible, say like for changing the AC filter if they're in for 3 months or anything like that? Like aside from like, cleaning up the mess they made.
So it kind of varies and I kind of gauge it based on the tenant. A lot of them are like, if you'll just give me the filter, I'll switch it out. And so I will leave like a box of filters at the property and I'll just send them like a quick reminder, hey, can you make sure you change that this week? We also do electronic locks on all of the properties. And so I get notices on my phone when the batteries are low. So I'll shoot the guest a text and say, hey, can you confirm if you have batteries there? If not, I'm going to have Amazon drop off some batteries for you. And can you just swap it out? And they'll like, it's a $10, fee to get all of the batteries over to them. And then I'm not going over to it. I don't need to step in the house if I don't have to, but I can. And I'll even say, hey, are you there this weekend? Because some of them aren't there on the weekends. They go to their homes on the weekends. So they're only there like Monday through Friday. And so I'll say, hey, Saturday morning, I'm going to be in that area. Do you mind if I change the filter and update your locks and just check on things? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. Like they don't care because they know I'm not there to mess with their stuff. They know that these are the things that I'm going to take care of. And because we have such good open communication, they communicate way better than long-term tenants. It's dramatically easier.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And my second question too is that as far as location wise, like, obviously, like maybe aside from downtown and things like that, what would you say is great for you know, the Missouri area?
Sure. So my favorite location is actually close to the airport. There are so many highways and easy access to downtown and county that has proven to be substantially profitable, great occupancy, great rates. We have a property, when we were redoing the property 2 summers ago, the next door neighbors were doing a long term. I in fact used her appraisal to give to our appraiser. So we got the same appraisal number. She rents hers out for 1,700. I rent mine out for 3,000. They appraised for the same dollar amount. I am making substantially more, and I've had over a 90% occupancy over the course of the 2 years.
And are there certain seasons that are like really great for that?
Yeah, I think that come spring, summer, fall is really solid.
Holidays are hard.
Holidays are hard, right? Going into December and then January, if we're vacant in January, it's challenging. Um, it's weird because a lot of it is very cyclical based on like we see seasonality based on like political stuff, right? Like when the election happened, right? There was from the time of the election till January, it was like slow. This year was like crazy busy up till Christmas, and then January, and then half of February was slow. I think it's just like kind of what's happening with some of these like these macro
Businesses.
things and with businesses, really. But the reality is, I mean, I definitely feel like um, businesses at the moment are we're in a really strange place in terms of like a real estate cycle and a financial cycle, right? I mean, I feel like if we if we haven't had a recession yet, we're probably in one or really close to one or coming back out of it, right? I mean, we were just at a conference in April, the 1st of April, where we were talking about real estate cycle, and we are almost at the bottom of the real estate cycle now and about to potentially come back up and out of it. But I do think there is seasonality. I think Isaiah, the question that I would say, or the comment that I would make, right, is like when you have one or two or three Airbnbs that you're managing yourself, that seasonality can hit you because now you're hitting that. Now you're kind of like stopping and starting your marketing, right? You're doing it based on when things are available. Rebecca said it earlier. We're always talking to people. We don't know when we're going to need something. And like I said, we've got 27 properties at the moment, and only one is vacant. And that one that's vacant, the guy's coming in on Friday. So we'll have literally 27 of them full with all of our properties will be full, which is fantastic.
And here's a great example. So because I know when people are leaving and I start marketing early, I have one that moves out on 4/20. I've intentionally given myself a week to do cleaning, updates, etc. The next one moves in on the 26th. That's the only other vacancy I currently had coming up. Everything else is booked until the end of May to September. So I feel like some of those are going to continue to extend because of the insurance claims. And then the other thing that I need is for my husband to buy me approximately 10 more properties between now and then.
Or onboard 10 in
So-
your business.
Also great
Yes,
option. Also great option.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Brad, what's up, man?
Hey, thanks for coming, guys. It's funny you say next to the airport. I have a property, the lease ends May 31st, and it's about
I'll take it.
2 miles from the airport. Would you be
Yeah,
interested
we're
in
probably really close.
would you be
Yeah.
interested in being a consultant?
So
Yeah.
Woodson Terrace or St. John, where are you at?
It's technically St. Anne, but it is at the tail end of Ashby Road, right
Yeah.
just south of the airport.
Are you looking to sell it or you need some help with it?
Or you want to
I've been interested in midterm rentals for a while, so this
Yeah.
might be my opportunity.
Yeah, happy to
But
talk to you. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to talk to you guys if you would share your number. But one quick question I
Well,
have. I've heard from someone in the past that you don't have, there's a way to get around the whole occupancy inspection when you have a turnover. Because typically with my long-term rentals, I got to get the occupancy inspection and all that rigmarole. I've heard that you do not have to do that because of some way you set this up. Can you please expand on that?
So whenever you switch it, you're going to leave all of the utilities in your name. All of them. So you can get the occupancy permit, you're good to go, and then leave all of the utilities in your name. We're gonna cap them in the lease so that they don't go crazy on that, or you can bill it back if they do. Like I just got one today. They went over by $1.75. I'll probably eat the $1.75, probably not worth the accounting nightmare to otherwise fix it. But I mean, that's how you do it. You literally just go ahead and keep the permit in your name, and that way you can go ahead and move forward, and you're not trying to redo one every 30, 60, 90 days, whatever that looks like.
Keep the utilities in your name. Does the occupant have to register with the municipal? Because that's another thing. The tenant has to go register with the you don't have to do that with
like
midterm rentals.
we got one in St. Anne that I registered under our property management name. Probably not, I mean, it's a kind of a gray area, right? But it's definitely something that, that you work with. I mean, the reality of these things is I don't know that we're over improving them, right? But we're doing them really nice. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, we're keeping the properties nice. We're keeping values up. We're trying to, the guests are not troublesome tenants, right? So we haven't had issues yet.
Here's a great example. In St. Anne, we bought a duplex that had a 20-year tenant who happens to be an alderman in St. Anne,
Yeah.
alderwoman. It's awesome. She pays $600 for the last 20 years and was a little ticked off because we raised it to $600. Next door, same duplex, 550 square feet. I get $1,800 a month.
Wow.
She loves the tenant.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, so that goes back to the idea, part of this goes back to whether we're flipping or anything that we're doing, right? We want to make sure that the city and the municipalities that we're dealing with know that we're like really solid operators, right? That we're taking care of the property, taking care of the neighborhood, making sure everything's up to codes and that we're not cutting corners. And I feel like so we may be operating in some gray areas, Brad, but as we do that, I think that, by having those relationships and building those relationships, it doesn't come out and necessarily hurt us.
Thank you.
I think that 500 is really low, like in St. Anne. So that was someone who she had been there for literally 21 years and they never raised the rents. This was a distressed owner that I bought from.
Hot Mess Express.
Yes.
So when I did
Okay,
the
that's awesome.
estoppel to make sure we understood her current lease and like what she had originally signed, she did not have a deposit 20 plus years ago, and she started off at $400. Yeah, I just read your lips because you're on mute, but I get it. And Julie's question is, what's your typical type of property you buy? Currently, we've been doing single family homes I would continue doing that. I would absolutely do a multifamily. I've got that on my wish list for this year. Condos, it would very much be dependent on where it is. One, I do not love selling condos. I do not love their financing. I do not love their HOA fees, or assessments. So more my distrust of condos keeps me from condos than anything else. I definitely think there's a benefit to them in some capacities. Um, Not necessarily for me in this market.
Yeah, I think I want to add to that too, right? All of this comes down to the numbers of the property, right? There are two sides to profitability on anything you're doing, the revenue you're bringing in and the costs to operate, right? So as we look at all of these things, we want to make sure we understand what your your PITI looks like, right, on your property, but also what your additional utilities are. Our additional utilities that we cover are always water, gas, electric, sewer. Well, sewer anyway. Most of us are cover that as landlords, and then we're covering the trash, and then we're also covering Wi-Fi. Right? I don't need crazy Wi-Fi, but I do need good business Wi-Fi. That's important. I find that these things run about $350 to $400 per property per month to cover those utilities. The other thing that we do when we sign leases with people, again, depending upon where they're coming through in what platform we're finding these people on, we may or may not sign leases. But when we do sign leases, we put utility caps in place on the electric and the gas, right? You're heavy on electric in the summer when you're running air conditioning. You're heavy on gas in the winter when you're heating it. We put $100 caps on each one of those. So like if the summertime we had a woman who had a 17-year-old dog who wanted to keep it at 65 to keep the dog alive in cryostasis apparently, but her electric bill was $180 a month. I charged her back $80 every month to cover that
Ridiculous.
was missed on the utility cap. That was the key. I also do want to point out, I think Isaiah asked about different areas, right? We have got some sweet spots in the city. I call them little honeypots. But the reality of it is, I can assess pretty quickly. I've written some AI prompts that allow me to assess marketability of any property for a midterm tenant. It'll tell me essentially what the what the companies with over 500 employees are within 10-minute drive, what major hospitals are around, what major universities are around, what major construction is happening in the area, how good is the safety of the area, give me an ideal avatar based upon the size of the property. So that's a huge thing that I do. There are there are other great areas of it. Ultimately, you need to be close to like a city or a downtown or commerce, right? Like, I mean, St. Charles is great. The city of St. Louis is great, specifically the south parts of the city. I think St. Charles is fantastic. You know, there are other parts where,
Amy's property is
well,
in Dutso. I didn't even know where Dutso was.
that's us out by Washington, Missouri, right? So we're hunting for more properties out in Washington right now because, like,
What are they,
literally, what's
what are
that?
they doing out there? Is it just for, I mean, there's a hospital in Washington. Is
There's a
that what it's
hospital.
There's
for?
Gravity Power Plant.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there is no
Nothing.
good hotels in
Nothing
that area.
whatsoever.
No, there's
Yeah.
not.
And so I literally had multiples trying to get
Well,
into this house as fast as possible.
in Washington, it's a funny, quirky area. You
Mhm.
have to like be from Washington to buy a house in Washington. They're
Yeah,
very particular.
I get it for sure. But look,
Yeah.
like Washington, Troy, there's nothing in Troy. Like I want one in Troy real bad, right? I mean, there's a lot of
I just did
opportunities
a
for
loan
something.
yesterday in Troy that we approved that you can get a great deal in Troy if you find the right
I have no
seller.
doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
again,
think they're everywhere. I
yeah.
think it's understanding how to go about finding your correct tenant, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have an in with Boeing or the Toyota plant, or like they all have projects going on all of the time. It's making those connections. And I'm here to tell you, like if you're at a networking event, you're at a birthday party, I am confident you're gonna walk away with a lead if you just tell people what you do and they just start going, oh, yeah, I know somebody that is looking for something or is like stuck in a hotel for 6 months. No one wants to be stuck in a hotel for 6 months.
Yeah,
It's
no,
terrible.
no. Julie asked Farmington, right? So Farmington, here's the thing. We've got two friends. They were actually they were tired landlords. They had two properties in the South City that they wanted to just sell us. We originally talked them into turning one into a midterm rental. They loved that so much. They're from Festus. They love that so much. They're from Festus that they are now doing MTR in Festus. They wanted to move all their money out of St. Louis, so they subtued those two properties to Rebecca and me. And now they've got five in Festus, and they're killing it down there because there's just nothing. Again, you got to look at this idea of supply versus demand, right? There's a lot of demand but down there and zero supply.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's,
Everything from construction to
yes, hospital. So
they're bringing in new doctors, and the doctors literally can't find housing in the area. And so these are major opportunities for them to, get in, figure it out, understand where they want to be, if they're building or whatever that looks like, but they have to be within so many minutes of the hospital. It's a huge win. It's a huge win.
yeah. I think Gray's asked a question, are there any tax benefits to midterm rentals like STRs, right? So you don't get the STR loophole, but the one thing that we do see with midterms is like the furnishing costs. You can deduct all of those in your taxes in year one, right? So typically to furnish a property, Rebecca said it's between $10 to $12 per square foot. And that's probably, I'm being conservative, right? That's the reality there. So that's as if you have a 1,500 square foot place, it might be $15,000, right? It just kind of depends on what you're putting in there. But all of that is tax deductible in year one.
And it also depends on how thrifty you are.
Yeah, that's what I mean by
I
it depends.
I feel like I'm pretty conservative, but I'm not going to Facebook Marketplace all day long. I don't have time for that. I don't have the energy for that. I'm not going to make energy for that. So I'm going to go to Walmart. I'm going to take one of my kids because we're going to have 3 shopping carts with pillows and a blender and like all of these things that you need for a kitchen.
Yep.
And then Amazon has on almost a subscription at this point, sheets and towels because of how often I buy them. And it rotates. Like it's just really, really simple to make it happen pretty quickly.
Yeah. Dennis asked, do we manage for others or only our own property? So the answer is yes, we do manage for others, right? We've got, we own 11 of ourselves, but we've got 27 total. So we definitely manage for others. I think that's our niche, right? So our niche in our business is, we own a company called Bright Door Hosting. We are literally, our goal is to, again, we talked about MTRs being active. Our goal is we handle that, right? We have those processes in place. We have those relationships in place. So we'll onboard new properties to us, bring them into our system and let you guys get these returns. The other thing that we're doing too, like when we're doing the management for others, there's always a thought like we could just put a master lease on it with our property management company and go out and basically arbitrage all these and do it ourselves. But our sense is, to be honest with you, like the rising tide raises all boats, right? So as we get more properties and we get more relationships, the more properties we get, the more relationships we can get, the more B2B relationships we get, the more we can take that construction crew pricing from $3,000 a month to that $8,000 a month. If we're going out and getting insurance claims. Now those are few and far between, but if you look at like the cost of insurance, right? Most people have on their insurance policy, they've got a 20% loss of use. So if you have a $250,000 home and you are displaced for a period of time, that means that $50,000 a year can be used for your housing. That's about $4,500 per month. So think about it, guys, in terms of, if you've got a rental that you're getting 250K on, and you're maybe getting $1,800 to $2,000 a month on, we're probably going to be pushing $4,000 plus for an insurance placement there. Now, the reality is, again, those are hard to come by, and you're just waiting for some tragedy to unfortunately happen. But the reality there is, in some cases, you may only need to have that property rented for 4 months out of the year to break even on what you'd be doing for a long-term lease. right? So there's definitely upside to all of this that we're talking about. And yeah, Dennis, we'll be there tomorrow. Come look for us. Come say hi. We'd love to talk to you. Isaiah, you got another question, sir?
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about turning, what was that, midterms to long-term rental. I just wondered if you could talk a little more about that.
I think what we only mean by that is that we have, it's the unforeseen thought that things are going to be faster, right? I'm only going to need this for 3 months, and it takes you 3 months to just get through the permitting stage because you had a fire in your house, right? And then so, I mean, it's just going to continue to, it just continues to go on and go on. Like these things, the can gets kicked quickly. Any of us who've done construction, right, and most people in this community are big on that. We all know that this stuff kind of it continues to, it takes longer than you expect. It always takes longer than you expect. And like I said, some of these insurance claims specifically will go longer. Sometimes relocations go longer because people are not expecting to be there. A lot of times, like again, travel nurses will come in and they'll come in for a 90-day contract. They'll like the town so much, they'll like the property so much, they'll extend. We have that duplex that we're talking about in St. Anne. We bought that in last May. Our first person moves in August, and she won't be done till I think her lease is up at the end of May, right? So she'll be there easy 9 months. Just extend, 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 and who knows? She may extend it again.
No, she's not. She's
Oh,
going to Alaska. I've already
fair
checked.
enough. Well, that's all right. I make $1,800 on a 550 square foot, one bed, one bath. I'm good with that. We'll get another person in there. So it's not again, it's when people move out of those kind of properties, we get snatched up pretty quickly. So,
Yeah.
Okay,
um,
thanks.
Intentionally, I leave a couple of days, more so that, like, lessons learned. If I have a tight turn, inevitably something will happen in our lives that I have to balance way too much. So I kind of intentionally give myself about a week in between. I will get better with that. There are times when they're shorter, but the tenant usually knows, hey, I'm flipping this really fast. So if something's not right, let me know, we'll fix it, right? Like I'm having those communications often if
Yeah.
that's the situation.
Yeah.
It's not like an STR where you don't talk to them on a regular basis. I usually send out like a text message a month just to be like, hey, how's life? Need anything? How's your puppy? You know, that's about it.
Yeah.
So
Pretty quick.
I'm just curious. You were saying that about 3 weeks out, you start looking for your next tenant when you know that they're going to be moving on. Do you
Right.
actually show the unit or do you just keep pictures from previously?
Pictures from previous. I have had situations where somebody is like, I'd really like to have a video. I have connected past tenant with potential future tenant. They will FaceTime and show them the unit.
Mm.
That's happened more than one time, and they've absolutely every time booked.
So, and the other thing that I'm gonna say is we're getting professional, right? I literally quit my job a month ago to do this full time because the need was there. We've got a niche that I think is blowing up for us, right? We are in the process now of creating website and landing page for all of our properties that we host. So we've got pictures on there. We're gonna start talking about doing video walkthroughs on there so that we don't have to have people doing the showings and people can jump in. We will do showings, right? Don't get me wrong, we do showings for people, but sometimes I just want to see to make sure that the pictures
If I'm
look like
to be
that.
there for 3 or 4 months, I kind of want to have a feel.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like that's a awful ask.
But I
by any
think
stretch.
again, Rebecca said it, like we communicate with our guests constantly. So like, and they're happy to show off the property. And there's no better testimonial for us than when an existing guest does a FaceTime with a new potential one to talk about the property and what they like about it and what they like about the area and what they like about St. Louis. I can tell, I don't think we've ever had anyone who's done that for us not sign a
Yeah.
contract.
It's always been a win.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Hey, so question for you. So are you only midterm from here on out? Like, if a property comes across your table, do you still look at it like, well, we could flip this, or we could do a long term here? Or are you like, nope, everything's going to be a midterm?
So you got two buckets, right? I mean, you know me, I flip as well, right? We flip as well. So I'm always looking for a property and seeing, here's the beautiful part about having it as being a midterm, is it gets me an additional exit strategy, right? I can flip it, I can hold it as a long term, now I can use it as a midterm, right? And again, the midterm part of it's got to be, does it work in an area that's a midterm? Right? We've got some stuff, like we just turned one of our properties in Hazelwood into a midterm. I never thought midterm would work up there. Holy shit, it's like we're getting $2,200 a month for our property up in Hazelwood, and I'm just like,
On
all
a
right,
6-month lease.
on a 6 month lease, right? And they'll probably want to keep extending that, right? That was
I lo-
we found a company that was placing foreign nurses into that she was up the Christian Northeast where she's working.
Northeast, yeah.
Yeah, they're bringing them in from out of the country. They're getting them visas. They're getting all that stuff. So this is actually we had a call with them that we're coming up. But I mean, they're looking at bringing how many people are into the city?
So by July or August, there should have 120 nurses coming from Europe and Asia. And so I need a lot of housing, which
Yeah.
is why
I mean,
we're having.
Florissant's right next to Hazelwood. So I
Yeah.
don't, and it's even
Yeah.
closer to Northeast. So I guess
Believe me, we
you're,
have a long-term tenant that moves out. Theirs ends in July, and I literally can't wait for theirs to be over so I can clear it out and put
no.
someone else in because
Yeah.
they haven't been great tenants.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
this was like a lesson learned on our end. And I will happily put somebody in that's going to pay more, pay on time. And the company pays their first 2 months. So, like their transition is super smooth for them. They've got that worked out. We've talked to them in depth about what their background checks look like because I clearly am not getting a good background check from someone that's from Europe or Africa. But they like go through what the US government does, what they do, how they bring them in, all of the processes they're doing, so that if I go to you as another owner that says, this is what I would like to do, they're like, well, how is this going to work? Because I tell people I vet them. Well, obviously, I can't go to their house and like check and make sure that they, is a long term, but I still have all of my vetting done. I have another company standing behind it. And if they don't pay, that other company has already promised they will pay the rent.
Man,
So one way or
you guys
another,
are,
I'm getting paid.
you're getting me a little too excited over here. I mean, I got one on the
We
market in
love it.
This
Florissant
is
right
only the
now, and
second
I'm
time I've
like,
talked to you today, man. Come
I
on.
know, I know. I'm like, why am I selling this house in Florissant? Why don't I just do a midterm rental? I have you guys manage it, and
Yeah,
I could take it off the market. It'd be just that easy.
So
could we? Yeah.
We'll talk.
Hey,
We'll talk a little bit more.
listen, I'm with you because I have a building in Soulard that has 10 units in it and they're already furnished.
Okay.
And I would love to talk to you guys about it.
for sure.
Yes.
I'd love to come see it.
Yeah.
I would love that because I'd love to get it off my plate. It's not what I do, but it was a great price. So
We're here to help.
Marquita, didn't I talk to you? Is that the one that's the right by Sydney Street?
no, it's literally right across from Farmers Market. I'm between Epic Pizza. I am in, it did great as an Airbnb. I just don't want to do it anymore. It's too labor intensive.
Yeah.
So I took it down and I've been trying to long term it, but I'm wondering if this isn't the direction I need to be going in.
It could be easy onboarding. I'm not gonna lie. And we actually I was hesitant to do Soulard, but we started looking at some 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, oh wait, this area could be really solid. Like
Yeah.
really,
Sorry,
really
I don't
solid.
mean to hijack the meeting, but when do you guys want to come look?
The next 2 days are really, really busy. So next week, schedule's wide open. Let's get together.
All right.
Matt, I feel like, and Rebecca, I feel like, do you mind putting your contact info in the
I'm
chat?
doing that right now. Yep.
And I feel like I'm gonna say some things and tell me if I say anything wrong. Matt and Rebecca have gotten really good at midterm rentals, and midterm rentals, in my opinion, is super niched. I would say if you guys are looking at midterm rentals, I would seriously consider having Matt and Rebecca manage your midterm rental. Instead of you guys trying to figure it out, you can if you have lots of time and this is what you do full time. But I feel like to me, you guys are a wealth of knowledge. Do you all, what I don't want to do is have people waste your time, and I want to be respectful to that. If someone has a property and they own it, I feel like you probably don't want to like look at stuff that people are just like looking at writing a contract on. That's probably not helpful. But if someone owns a
But if
property,
they were questioning in an area, I would give an opinion.
okay,
I
yeah,
would,
like
I
general,
wouldn't say,
like,
yeah,
is
I wouldn't go in
Fenton,
depth on a property, but I would say like bed to bath ratios matter.
okay?
I would say, you know, there are pieces of it that I would still give a little bit of context to.
Okay, perfect. So you'd give context to general areas. And then, okay, let's say you own a house, you got it fixed up, you're debating midterm rental, or do I want to sell it or do a long term? And we want you to manage it if we go midterm route. Is that something you'd kind of spend, like, do a little bit of a like, yep, this is good, and this is kind of like what it would cost you for us to do this? And then do you help furnish it? Or give them like a list of stuff, like this is what you need in this house. Here's some quick Amazon links. Or do you want them to already have them furnished, or does it matter?
I'm actually working with our VA to create a full link list to
Cool.
where it's just like, and you go do through the things. Obviously, there's some things you can't do on links. Like every property is different as far as like decor. Like,
Yep,
it needs to not look
the
sterile.
same.
It needs a function, it needs a function too, based upon who we're targeting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
So there's some pieces of it, but it's definitely gotten to a point where yes, we do have structure set up to if you've already got the house and you just need me to come in, fill the house and then market it and get everything leased, there's a price to that. There's a price if I'm just leasing and you've already filled the house.
Okay.
Even if you fill the house, I will still walk through probably with my label maker and little things like that because I do go into every property in between sets to make sure things are right and to make sure, you know, things are in good shape. But having it's little things like that. Like the label maker lets me know if bowls are missing, if glasses are missing, that
Yeah.
those replacement things that need to happen, it's all right there.
Cool.
And they ran out of hangers. Magically, all 112 hangers are gone. I know this, right? Like it's those little things that make it right. So, and I should get an affiliate with Amazon. This is a great idea.
You should.
So here's the thing, like, I mean, our structure, to be honest with you, there's an onboarding fee, right? And if it's something's already set up as a furnished rental, it's a basics onboarding of $1,000, which is essentially just getting in, having us assess everything, make sure everything gets set up the way we need it, and then getting it into our systems so that we can go forward. If we talk about furnishing for people and like us doing the furnishing, we can actually give you lists, you can furnish it yourself. Save some money there, or we could go like full service where we're furnishing them. We're still figuring all of that out. And then our fee specifically is like if we're gonna manage it, it's just 20% whenever it's rented, right? So it's, you know, again, but that goes back to, here's the thing, like I had someone who, shoot, I was we have a property off Lands Down that we were renting at $23.50 a month. This other person was at 1,900 was what they were listing it on Furnish Finder. I'm like, I'll get you 23.50. And by the time you pay my fee, you're getting back what you were already netting, right? Turns
Not
out,
having to manage it.
yeah, turns out they actually didn't want to manage it, so I bought it turnkey. I bought it as a fully furnished, functioning midterm rental. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to tell this group.
And we're running it at 2,900.
No, that's true. Okay. We're getting more because I made an extra bedroom in the bay upstairs. Yes. The other thing I want to tell this group, guys, is my goal. We've got 27 now. Our goal is to be at 75 properties in St. Louis market by the end of the year. Right? We're going to own it. We want to we want to own the St. Louis market specifically. I'm tied into a bunch of nationwide investor groups, right? I just spoke at REI Summit in April. I'm speaking at MTR Summit in San Diego in June. I'm making connections with investors on the coasts, and when I tell them what I can buy for properties in St. Louis, they start salivating because the money's crazy. We came back from we came back from REI Summit and we are looking now to buy 4 or maybe 5 turnkey midterm rental properties that we can sell to this investor base, right? I'm growing those. So for anyone who's flipping and has a flipping option, reach out, talk to me, because honestly, it's a potential for us to, as a community, to, right, make sure the properties are furnished to a specific level. But if I can blast them out to our buy base, which is again a retail buyer who loves the idea of planting money in St. Louis, I can potentially have some of these things pre-sold before we're done with them. So
Well, we are a little over time, so I'm going to just wrap us up. No, you guys did great. I'm happy we went over time. You guys did awesome. Thank you so much. Seriously, thank you guys for hopping on today and sharing all your knowledge. You guys know a ton, and there's so many little details to midterm rentals that are all important that you guys shared just a ton on. So thank you. For anyone who's free, tomorrow night is Buyers Club. So Matt and Rebecca will be at Buyers Club
we
tomorrow.
will.
Rachel and I will be there. We would love to see you guys. It's going to be really good. Matt Becker with Magnolia Real Estate is going to talk about what's happening in the market, because the market feels weird to me, but also about the new wholesaling laws. So that's really important. There are a lot of legislative changes that are coming down the pipeline. So I really hope you guys can make it. Doors open at 6. Meeting will start at 6:45. And we'll have Nancy's Pizza. We're trying them out for the first time. So if you're there, please give me feedback if you like the pizza or not. And Rachel, did I forget anything? Rachel did put Matt and Rebecca's link in the chat,
Thank
so you
you.
have a way to access them too. Anything I forgot?
Nope, you did good.
Okay. All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
everyone.
Suzanne, I just
Yes.
want to thank you for this opportunity. This has been great. We really appreciate it. So thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
No,
you're
thank
welcome.
you. See
All
you guys
right. Well,
tomorrow.
thank you. See you all. Yes. All right. Bye.